Hello and welcome to another video. I'm sorry for the wait. It's been pretty hectic for me these days. Today we're going to be talking about macros that I use in PvP, most specifically in Arena. So over the course of this video, we're going to talk about all of the different types of macros that I use, and then how to write them, and how to kind of coordinate them with your keybinds so that you can make the best of them. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with what kind of macros I have. So to begin with, I feel like targeting macros are really important, and what a targeting macro does is it gives me the ability to change focus on the fly or target on the fly. So basically, when you're in an arena, there's like 1, 2, 3. So I have the ability to keybind individual targeting for each person. I can change my focus, and I can also sap or shadow step kick each individual target. And that's all merged into one macro. So like 1, 2, 3, 4 functions merged into one macro. Now it's kind of confusing because like I have to hold shift or control and alt for shadow step, but we're going to talk a little bit later about how like my keybinds are all kind of coordinated together to make them easier to work with. So the next thing after targeting would be control macros. So basically any of your crowd control abilities, it's important to have the ability to cast them at your focus target as well as your main target. So I've got two targets here in front of me, and I'm just going to give you an example of what that's like. So being able to cast my cheap shot and then blind, it makes it really convenient. I guess somebody's AoE broke it, that's just how it goes. But it's like, instead of having to target this person in the opener, let's say. So we're just going to re-stealth and do it again. Let's say you like want to run over here and target this guy, and you spent time like pressing and clicking around. It's a little bit more sloppy, and you lose time auto attacking. That's like literally something that's really simple, but it's noticeable. Is having the ability to cast all your CC at your focus target is good because you don't have to worry about losing time auto attacking. Like watch. I just keep auto attacking my main target while CCing my focus target. And obviously, like, you know, being able to switch focus targets from any of the arena enemies. So like if you need to run over and like kick a mage or something, or blind the healer, you can quickly change focus and get your CC off. So having the control mixed with the targeting keybinds is really good. Now there's some other macros that I have that are pretty simple and straightforward, like the sap macro, which is keybound to my scroll wheel. So what this macro does is, if I'm out of stealth, I think it's, wait, no, where is it? Man, I have so many, it's hard to find them sometimes. Bear with me here, guys. It's pretty, I think it's, there it is, okay. So what this does is it will stealth me if I'm out of stealth. If I'm in stealth, it'll clear target, it'll target a nearby enemy player, and then it'll sap. So if it's keybound to my scroll wheel, right, so I'm just like running around spamming my scroll wheel, and I use that anytime that I'm just trying to sap anybody who's invisible around me. And if I'm trying to sap a like specific person, like let's say it's rogue, mage, druid, let's say I really want to find the druid, I could just like run around spamming whichever keybind each person is, right? Like stay near the edges and like try and find the druid by spamming the keybind for just the druid. So that's how like a combination of all my sap macros. And then like I even have like a focus sap too. So like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 with the focus, and then 6 with the keybind on the mouse wheel. So like there's like 6 different little keybinds that I have for sapping, but they're all used in like different situations. I don't know. So basically, that's just the rundown of all my macros that I have. I have a stealth one that will cannot cancel stealth if I spam it. Pretty straightforward. But in the next part of this video, we're going to actually go ahead and talk about how to write these macros. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so let's talk about exactly how to write some of these macros, and we're going to start with the beginning tier, which was the targeting macros. So for the targeting macros, you're going to want arena 1, 2, 3. And because we're using modifiers, we need to type them like this. No mod. So you start off with /target space no mod, and then the bracket arena 1. Then you go to your second line, and you type /focus. Now this is where you're going to want to pick a modifier that's comfortable for you. And I've always gone with control for my focus abilities. CTRL Arena 1. And basically, like later on when I'm casting at my focus, I use the modifier control. So I'm changing my focus and casting at focus when I'm holding my control keybind down, which allows me to change some of my keybinds down here to do different things depending on if I'm holding control or not. As you can see, like my bars look really weird, right? I have multiples, but we'll get into that after. So we have targeting and focus, then we want to be able to cast sap as well. So /cast mod semicolon, or sorry, colon, we'll do shift for sap. Now you need to do comma at arena 1, because the target that you're casting at needs to be inside of the parameters, I guess is how to say it. I'm not very technical with these, I just know how they work. And then sap is the ability that we're casting. So basically for like the structure of these, what is it doing? It's targeting if there's no modifier arena 1. So when you press this macro, it'll target arena 1. But if you're holding down the modifier control, it will focus arena 1. And if you're holding down the modifier shift, it will cast at arena 1 the ability sap. Right, so that's very straightforward, pretty simple. So you do hashtag show tooltip, because it's just a question mark, right? And when we did this, we picked the question mark, gave it whatever. So now we want to show a tooltip. Now I track cooldowns with this, so we have blind in there, and boom, we basically just replicated this one, only we added the modifier for shadow step kick with alt. But we're just going to keep it straightforward with no modifier, modifier shift, and then control. So the targeting macros were pretty straightforward, but let's talk now about the control macros. So for some keybinds, I have, let's say, an offensive ability and then a control ability casted at my focus, merged into one keybind. And in other cases, I have, let's say, kidney shot and then focus cast kidney shot. So let's go ahead and like work through how I write some of the macros that have offensive abilities first, and then we'll go with the more straightforward ones afterwards. So we start off with /cast space no mod bracket. We're going to do envenom. Then we'll do the next line /cast mod colon control comma at focus bracket blind. So with this keybind now, if I'm holding control, it'll show blind, and if I let go, it'll show envenom again. I don't really necessarily need that because this keybind also has another ability cast into it, which is Vendetta. So this is my 3 keybind. So basically what it does is it'll cast envenom with no mod, Vendetta with shift, and blind with control. It casts envenom and Vendetta at like its normal target, but it'll cast blind at focus. And you're starting to see how when I'm holding control, I'm always casting at focus. But I don't really need it to change like that. I just kind of want it to track the cooldown of Vendetta. So show tooltip Vendetta. Boom. Now, no matter what modifier I'm holding down, it'll show Vendetta. It's basically the exact same keybind as my number 3. Alright, so let's move on to another macro, which is basically, hold on, no, I'm trying to keep these in the same area so I can delete them afterwards. This is going to be pretty straightforward too. We're just going to do kidney shot, let's say. No mod, kidney shot /cast mod semicolon, colon or whatever, control, comma at focus, kidney. So you're starting to see how these macros are really not that complex, they're pretty straightforward. You're able to make them do multiple things, but let's talk about some like more specific things like shadow step kick. Now that some people always ask questions about, my shadow step kick macro up here is pretty straightforward. Wait, this one here. This is my shadow step kick for focus target. You're going to want to put kick before it. Now you can do it one of two ways. You can have it with a control modifier like we've been setting it up. So I'll type that one out. No mod kick / cast no mod shadow step. Is it one word? I never am sure. Yeah. So this will cast. Hold on. Do I have a spot here? This will shadow step kick you. You know, right? And if you want to have it cast at your focus target, it's just the exact same thing we've been writing throughout the course of this video. So / cast space mod control at focus kick, and then you replicate it with shadow step. Now for making your shadow step kick macro, it's very important to have shadow step after kick, because if it's the other way around, it just doesn't work. I'm not necessarily sure why. I think it's because shadow step goes on CD, and then it won't kick. I'm not a pro, man. I just write the macros that work because I've been using them forever. It's like magic, you know. I don't fully comprehend it. I just have faith that they work, and they do. So basically, what we've done down here is we've written macros that will cast an offensive ability, a cooldown, or a CC ability at focus target. One that will target, change focus target, or cast an ability at a specific target, or just a specific one for shadow step kick and kidney. Now you do your shadow step kidney the same way. You just put kidney shot. Boop. There we go. So now we've transformed this macro into a shadow step kidney. Let's go ahead and give it that sick clicks. Ooh, hell yeah. We've got some hella skill right now. And like your shadow step kidney for your focus target, you best believe it's going to be the same thing. I bet you did not see that one coming. Watch this. See that X over there? Watch this, man. Oh. Am I eating my words, dude? Oh, my words aren't hungry. I just had it on a control modifier keybind. Now, so this is ironic that this happened. It's actually perfect because this will give me an opportunity to talk about some things that you need to make sure that you avoid. So in your keybinds, the reason that that macro didn't work is because it was on a control modifier. If it was just on a normal modifier, it would have been fine. But let's say I had a macro that casts at a normal target on this modifier. Like if I press T, it'll use the macro. But if I'm holding control, it won't cast the macro because it's trying to do a control keybind somewhere else. Right guys, well that pretty much sums up this video. Now I feel like it isn't up to standard. I don't like the way that the format is done. But here's the thing, right? I've recorded this video 3 times now, and I think this is good enough. The information here is kind of sketchy and it's like all over the place, you know, it's not formatted very well, and I feel like it could have been presented better, but every single time I've tried to do it, it just wasn't up to my standard and I deleted it and started again. So I think this one is okay. Now here you're going to see a list of all of the macros that I am using for targeting and control, and then quality of life. Also in the description, I'm going to have a lot of macro examples in there for you guys to look at, for you guys to draw from, and hopefully it helps. Well guys, thank you very much for watching. Sorry for the wait, and I'm sorry that this video is kind of all over the place, guys. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a great day. Stay sneaky, my friends.